What style of trading makes the most money? Welcome back to the Trade Off Podcast, episode 10.
10.
My name is Ryan.
I'm Alex.
And welcome back to another week of your motivational update, your discipline reminder to pull your finger out and give life your absolute fucking best.
Stop being a little bitch.
Stop being a little bitch. You're here to make a difference to your life and the others around you, so get to it. Now today, as the title explains, we're going to be looking at what is the most profitable trading style, not strategy. There's millions and millions of different strategies out there. The trading style. Alex, please explain to the good people of the internet, what is a trading style?
Well, a trading style comes in three forms. They are essentially different periods of time that you're willing to hold a trade for, essentially.
Very good explanation, actually.
So, you have swing traders, like myself. They are happy to hold... Swingers, yeah. Like a bit of golf. Swing traders, they like to hold trades for a longer period of time. They're not so worried about making quick money. They're more of an investor standpoint.
Yeah.
And then we have
And what sort of time duration would you say, roughly, for swing traders?
What, time frame or...
Time period that they'll hold a trade for?
Anywhere from 4 to 5 days to weeks, months, essentially. I've held trades for a week, 4 or 5 weeks, 2, 3 months.
Yeah, probably swing.
Obviously,
Nice.
there are methods that you can do, like, partials, etc., to take money from the trade.
Yeah, scaling out of the trade.
Yeah, you don't just go to work on day one and then wait 4 months to get paid. You pay yourself along the way. However, you understand that payment process is going to take a long time. And then you have scalpers, which are going to be using usually lower time frames because they're looking to see the smaller picture, what's happening now. They want to take money out of the market over the space of a couple of minutes, a couple of hours, in and out, done. And then you've got intraday traders in the middle, which is a little bit of a blend of both.
Blend of both, yeah. Because you can use a swing trading kind of entry point.
Yeah.
And then use scalping methods to then really fine tune that entry point.
And then find your
Swing
target.
trading level, scalping entry point for intraday, and then you can find a good target level, so on and so forth. So 3 different trading styles. Scalping, which is you're in the trade for a short period. Intraday, you're in trades for usually within the day, maybe 2 days at most.
Yeah.
Swing trading is got the more broader time scale. You could be in days to weeks, sometimes months. When you start to go longer than that, it's more of an investment rather than a trade.
I think that some people with swing trading, they mistake if they were to buy shares in a company as kind of, swing. No, it's not swing trading. Swing trading is when you understand an entry point of where it's going to go. Essentially, all strategies, right? They have, set time frames that work, and that will obviously determine what kind of style of trading you're going to use. But when we look at something like investing, that's very different. You have an idea that I believe this is going to become worth more money. So if we invested in Apple today, we'd have the expectation that at some point over the next 3 to 4 years, Apple will rise in stock value.
Yeah, the company's going to increase in value. They're expanding. Brilliant. I want to jump on that.
When we look at swing trading, we're still looking at the key points of highs, lows, levels of support and resistance, supply and demand, volume, all those things that we would look at with any other strategy. However, the targets are more likely to be daily, weekly, monthly points of interest. So that just means you have to wait a longer period of time to get there. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not paying any attention to the lower time frames, but they're not as important to you because you want to make sure that you're following mainly the higher time frame kind of bias, opposed to what's happened in this session or this candle. You're looking at what's happening this month over the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, so you're looking at more of a macro outlet instead of a micro outlet.
Exactly.
Which, if you are going to be a swing trader, you can be holding trades for longer, which would suggest possibly you need to be a more patient trader, maybe a bit more of a stronger mindset. I mean, if you're impatient and you're swing trading, there's no point looking at your phone every day saying, how's my trade doing today? You might leave it for a whole week, depending on where your target is. So maybe a bit more patience is required for a swing trading standpoint. Nonetheless, usually swing traders can actually yield more of a bigger return.
Yeah.
Because they're looking to catch that bigger move.
And not just that, what you got to remember is if you take all 3 styles of trading and you essentially say that every single one of those trades is going to risk 1%, the risk to return and the risk kind of exposure for a swing trader is usually a lot less. Because let's say the swing trader takes 1 trade a month. They're only risking 1% a month of their capital with the understanding they might make 10, 20, 30%.
Yeah.
A day trader will essentially be looking to, risk 1% still, but they might take 2 to 3 trades a week. So that means that they might be risking, 9 to 10% a month.
Yeah.
And then a scalper, I would not recommend risking 1% on a very low time frame per trade.
Yeah, usually 0.5% is good for scalping.
But even then, if you're taking 1 to 2 trades a day, you're going to be taking around 15 to 20 trades a month, dependent on,
the risk exposure.
So the risk exposure increases. So it's not necessarily about which one makes more money or which one risks less money. It's about what's best for you. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand, do they? They see a trader online showing what they do, what we do, and that might not necessarily work the exact way that they're trading and the time frames they're trading. It might not work for them or for you. What I do doesn't necessarily work for you. What Ryan does doesn't necessarily work for me. But what you can do is manipulate a strategy to make it fit your style of trading.
Yeah, to cater to you. And that's actually a very good point because, for example, if you see a trader and he's a scalper, that might be his full-time job.
Yeah.
Which means he's got plenty of time to be sat on the chart scalping on the lower time frames. We're talking from a manual perspective here.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, we have automated trading systems, but we're broadly speaking from a manual perspective. So if you work a full-time job and you're a family man and you've got kids and you see this trader who's a scalper making really good returns, you think, I want to use his strategy. So you purchase his strategy. You're thinking, hang on a minute, I'm not making as much. So how am I missing all these trades? It's because obviously you're at work.
Yeah.
So there's 2 things you need to look at. One is what sort of trader are you in terms of what's your personality profile? Do you like more risk? Are you patient? Do you want to be in and out of trades really quickly? Are you happy to place a trade and hold it for a week? And 2, how much time do you actually have?
Yeah.
Because I put being a scalper if you work full time and you cannot go near a phone or near a computer throughout the whole entire day. There'd be no point.
I get a lot of people that want to swing trade, people that are like working on building sites, stuff like that. Places where you can't have access to your phone, right? If you've got an office job, unless your boss is really strict, you can usually have trading view up on the screen somewhere or do it
on a secondary screen site. Yeah.
A lot of building sites, you're not even allowed your phone on site anymore, are you?
No.
So, for them, having to check their phone multiple times during the day, it's just not viable. So that means with swing trading, essentially, I will look at the swing trade setup that I'm looking for. I'll have a good understanding of when it's going to come into fruition. So I can say, okay, it's more than likely going to be a couple of days before this trade's ready. Then, once that trade's ready, I've only got to check in on it in the morning, in the evening. I don't sit at my desk all day.
It's not very time consuming.
Yeah, I do an hour in the morning and then 20 minutes in the evening. Just maintaining the chart, maintaining my analysis, updating it, and just making sure that everything's where it needs to be. Because I don't need to be watching it all the time. It's a bit like when you've got kids. When you've got a baby, you need to be watching that baby all the time. It's a bit like scalping. You've got to be there, you've got to be present, right? You have to be a full-time parent. One of you.
Depends what type of parent you are. I know a few.
Yeah, I know a few that probably just leave them. But when you're a swing trader, it's more like, they're like in their late teens, early adults. You don't really have to do very much.
Take care of themselves a bit more.
Yeah, they take care of themselves. You just give them rough kind of guidance and you check in on them and you know what you want to do. That's all it is really, right?
Or, if you're an automatic trader, you've got full-time childcare. Yeah. You ain't got to do shit.
I think that's an interesting point as well, because with the automated trading, it takes a lot of the psychological problems away from trading. Yeah. Whether that being that you're developing a lower time frame scalping strategy, an intraday strategy, or a swing strategy. However, although it removes a lot of the problems, it doesn't completely solve the psychological issues, because what you can do with an automated system is turn it off. So if you know that your trading strategy on your automated system wins 6 trades out of 10, but it loses 4 in a row, everyone shits their pants, turns it off. Whereas from a trader's point, I know that means, well, I'm due 6 wins.
Yeah, I'm due 6 wins.
I'm due 6 wins.
It's a probability game.
So they turn it off, it wins the next 3 or 4 trades, and then, fuck, they turn it back on again, it loses again. Oh my God, for God's sake, So you still have to have the psychological kind of mind point and the strength to let the probabilities play out. But it is easier because with an automated trading system, you don't have the kind of the fear of pulling the trigger.
Yeah, because the automated trading system is doing that for you.
Yeah.
Now, going back to a point you said there, which is actually a very valid point. Whether you're a manual trader and you're scalping, you're intraday trading, swing trading, or if you're a fully automated trader, still one thing needs to be on point. Otherwise, you can't do either. And that's mindset.
Yeah, 100%.
You haven't got the correct mindset and you haven't put in the work on yourself, both methods will not work. It just won't. You could give somebody a strategy. This is the best strategy the world has ever seen. It's a miracle strategy, the Holy Grail, right? It doesn't exist, but let's say it did, right? This strategy never loses a trade. They would still fuck it up if they haven't mastered their mindset. Because because they'll be looking at trades going, oh no, what's happening here? There's a level there. And you can talk yourself out of a fantastic trade, even though you know the probabilities, you know it's likely to work in your favor. And then you start making bad decisions whilst you're in the trade. That's where most traders actually make their mistakes.
I often find that people that, it doesn't matter whether they're a scalper, a day trader, or a swing trader, people that can't follow something that's black and white, people that are all what if people that are always looking for something better, or you know, rather than just playing the probabilities. If you can play the probabilities, then the chances are you're going to be okay.
It is a numbers game.
The more you remove the complexity from trading, the easier it actually becomes. Yeah. I've seen people with, you know, I've seen people with scalping strategies, right, where you should, in essence, you know, just on average, be taking a couple of trades a day, a couple of trades a week, maybe, right?
Yeah.
I've seen people, they're scalping and they don't take a trade for a month.
Yeah.
Because they've got a trading strategy. They've got a plan. They've got a plan, and then they win 2 or 3 trades with this plan, and then they lose a trade. So what they do, they go, why did I lose that trade? They look at that trade, figure out why they lost, add that as the next point on their trading strategy, their trading plan.
It starts getting too strict.
Before you know it, they're fucking unrolling this massive, like the movies, and the whole paper, they go, falls down.
Yeah.
They're like that. And people send me trading strategies, trading plans, and I'm like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
This is an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
When do you ever find a trade? And they go, well, I hardly trade. Like, all right, that's it. You need to look at probabilities. You're not looking to win every single trade.
Yeah, and that is the problem. And that is very correct, because once a trader accepts, and I've seen this, and you would have yourself, we've taught thousands of people how to trade, right? Once they fully and truly accept, I'm not going to win every trade. It's not mathematically possible. No one in the history of trading has ever won every single trade, because it's not mathematically possible. Exactly. And 3, I'm not that fucking special that I'm going to be that one person in the history that is going to win every single trade, because you're not that fucking special. You're not that fucking smart to outsmart the market.
That's it.
And win every single trade. It's just not possible. Once you truly accept that, that's when you actually start winning more, because your mindset is better. You're thinking, I understand the probabilities. I understand the structure of my strategy. I'm going to let that play out, because an edge only plays out over X amount of number of trades. Then you start seeing the profits. Now, going back to scalping and swing trading, there is a debate. What actually is more profitable? Scalping, being in and out quicker, taking smaller profits out of the market, but at a higher frequency of trades, or holding a swing trade for longer and then scaling out of the swing trade as it starts progressing in your favour.
I actually have had this conversation with so many people, and I think that
it's a big question. It's always
it doesn't actually matter. I think that you always end up with roughly, if your strike rate's roughly the same, then scalping with a bad strike rate is not the way to go. No, especially when you think
you need a high strike rate.
For someone like a scalper, right, they'd be looking like a 1 to 2. Usually, right? They're risking 1% to make 2%, whereas I will risk 1% to make nothing less than 10%. By the time I've scaled out, I take partials at 5% on my trade. Take 50% of the trade at 5%, so I make 7.5%, right?
That's good.
But some of my targets, I'm in a trade now. We're running at just over 6%. It was this morning on EU long. So those of you that look at the date stamp today, we got in on Wednesday around 3 o'clock, I believe. 3 p.m. So there we are, Wednesday, 3 p.m. We're looking to pull back all the way up to the middle of the kind of most recent daily internal leg. It's looking at around 14%. I'm not going to take 14% from that trade. This is where people on social media go.
It's a 1 to 14 risk to reward.
People are like, he caught a 1 to 100 trade. No, he fucking didn't. Because he took partials all the way. As soon as you take 50% partials, you've halved the risk.
You had like 0.1% left running.
Exactly. So I've taken 50% of my trade out, for instance, which means I've now got...
Which is good risk management, by the way.
The trade got to 5% profit. I took 50% of that trade out, so I've got 2.5% in the bank. I'm risk-free, I can't lose any money, and I've now got 50% volume running. So if that trade hits the 10%, it gets there, that's great, but it's only at half volume, so it's 5%. So it's actually, like Ryan said, 7.5%. However, that's one trade, scaled over 2 weeks, and if you're a day trader or a scalper, to get that, you might have had to take 8 or 9 trades. Whereas I've only had to take 1.
And you've had some losses in between that.
Exactly. I don't have to be... I always say this to people, if we look back at like my training from last year, I only took about 15, 16 trades last year, right? My strike rate was 60%, but I finished well up for the year.
Of course, we have a big risk to all 6% strikes.
The reason being is that I wasn't sat there all day. The more I find myself sitting at a chart, the more I feel like I have to justify to myself why I'm there.
Definitely.
So I start looking for trades.
Less is more.
Yeah. If your boss said to you, come in Monday, I'm going to pay you a month's money, you would not go in for the rest of the month.
I said this at a meet-up once. I said this exact phrase. I said, if there was a robot and that robot's had to go to work for you and your boss said, right, I will happily let you bring this robot into work. You set the robot up. I don't ever want to see your face again. Do not come in, right? Your robot is going to do the work for you, but I'm going to keep paying you. You would never go back to work.
Never.
Exactly. But with trading, people feel the need to go on the charts, say, more trades, more profit. Yeah. But that is not the truth.
And with scalping, scalping is great. However, when you do something on a very low time frame, it becomes very volatile. I always explain this to people as scalping is very different to swing trading because of the volatility in the movement. Okay?
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're swing trading, it's like driving a transit van. Doesn't go very fast, but you know what you're going to get from it. It's big, it's bulky, it's going to take its time getting where it's going. It's useful, it's going to do the job that you want it to do. But if you have an accident in a transit van, you're going to be all right. Because number one, you're not going 150 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And number two, it's a big sturdy vehicle.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have lightning fast reactions to steer a transit van, right? Bear with me. If you're a scalper...
We're bearing.
If you're a scalper, it's more like a Ferrari, Lamborghini, Formula 1 car. The thrill of it is much more. It's more exciting. You're going to be doing more. You're going to want to be driving it more, because who wants to really drive a transit van?
And you can drive fast.
And you can drive fast. However, if something goes wrong, it goes drastically wrong. Because
and it's fucking expensive.
Yeah. And you can go from 0 to 60, in 2-3 seconds. And it's the same with trading. If you're scalping, it can go wrong very, very quickly. And especially if you find yourself with a mindset that you cannot handle losses. If you can't handle a loss, two things happen. You either pull away from the market, which means you're now going to miss positions that you should be taking to play out your edge.
Get scared to play some more trades.
Or you get Superman complex and you go, well, I know I'm better than this, and you just keep trading. And you start taking trades that aren't even there. And then
that's the killer.
And we've actually seen a really good trader. Myself and Ryan, we had a student who was a really good trader, but trader wanted him in the end, and he stopped. Because for those of you that are into trading, there's something called an investor password.
Yeah.
So we were monitoring his trading. He was a very advanced student. He was a good student. He knew how to trade. But his mindset wasn't quite there. We saw him take a £20,000 trading account and blow it overnight, trading overnight, which he never did. It wasn't part of his trading plan. And we watched him scale up the positions. Every time he lost, he doubled his lot size, doubled his lot size, doubled his lot size.
It will come back.
Yeah. And we saw the account go from 18, 19,000 after he lost the first trade, just dropping until there was literally nothing left. He got margin called and got done because he was just adding positions, right? We didn't hear from him for a week or so. Then he came back and was like, oh, mate, the old sob story. And he accepted it was fully his fault. And we had a conversation with him. And, after that, he took a step away from trading because his psychology wasn't able to handle it.
Just couldn't do it. He knew how to trade. However, it goes back to mindset. You need to work on your mindset.
100%.
Otherwise, it's like in anything that you want to do in life. If your mindset's not there and you haven't got the correct perception of what it is you're actually doing, the task that you're carrying out, you're not going to be very good at that task.
No.
It's actually quite simple and very obvious. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing in life. If you don't fully understand what mindset you need to complete the task correctly, you're not going to complete the task.
And a lot of people overcomplicate the steps they need.
Massively overcomplicated.
They start adding in different factors and different things. The simplest trading strategies are usually the best.
Yeah.
If someone starts trying to sell you a trading strategy for scalping or swing trading, and it's super complicated, it's not usually very viable.
Yeah, trading isn't difficult. People are.
Yeah.
People are difficult, and they make trading more complex, more difficult than what it has to be.
Yeah. You need to be like a robot.
I like to think that we've simplified things a lot with your swing trading techniques, the automated trading system.
Yeah.
It's a much more simplified approach to trading. So we have a question to answer. What is the most profitable trading style? For me, I personally think that each style can be as profitable as the other, as long as you have adopted the correct style for you. At this point in your life, you might want to be a scalper. However, if you're working full time, you may need to look at a swing trader.
Yeah.
And then once your trading develops, you can then start maybe looking at scalping more because you've got more time on your hands. Maybe part-time at work now.
And also, the main thing for me was not the monetary value. and I have to go on to that, right? For me, and I think for Ryan's, obviously money is important, but if someone said to us, you could double the amount of money you earn right now by going and work in a hedge fund or going to work somewhere away in London, you leave Sunday night, you come back Friday afternoon, you spend the weekend with your kids, you double your money. I wouldn't take it.
I'll like be my own man. Yeah.
So for me, the reason swing trading is viable for me, and that's where I've settled, because I've traded all different styles of trading, so has Ryan. The reason I settled on that is because up until September this year, I still had my youngest kid at home. I've been able to spend all my time with my kids, do all the school runs, do all the school pickups,
it's nice.
Every club, whatever I want to do, right? And that's why trading is important to me. So when I started going down the lower time frame route, I was like, wow, this is great. Like, this is way more active. I'm taking more trades. I'm having a bit more of kind of it's almost like a false sense of kind of importance, because I felt like a trader because I was trading all the time.
Yeah, and you feel like you're doing more. Yeah, I'm doing more. I'm a trader. I'm doing more. Yes, this is it.
It's not. Don't confuse movement with progress.
Yeah,
right.
Because that ain't the case.
Because that ain't the case. So what I found was, when I looked at my statistics over my trading years, I actually, from sitting on the computer all day, London and New York session, right? So for like 7 hours a day, I was pretty much at the desk. I didn't earn significantly more money than I did when I was at the desk for an hour a day. So what I decided is, if I can make X amount here or slightly less here, but get to spend time with my family, then that's what I want.
Yeah, that's what
for the sake of a couple of grand a year, meaning that I can do everything I want in my personal time.
Do you know what you got to work out? You got to work out the trade-off.
Yeah, it is a trade-off. It is
the trade-off. That's what we got to work out. So first of all, we need to work out what style of trading works better for you, and that will likely be the most profitable style, because there's traders out there that are going to be very good traders, or they actually are very good traders already. However, they've adopted the wrong style for them at the moment.
Yes.
Now, for me, the route that I went down was the automated trading route. I just thought this is the future with the booming AI industry. Technology is getting better and better every single year. It's progressing increasingly fast. Why can we not leverage that for trading? That's the route that I went down. Obviously, that frees up time. Alix's swing trading strategy frees up time. Having more time means you can work on other things, other projects, make more money in other avenues. You got to look at what's best for you, and you also need to think long term. What's best for you now may not be best for you long term.
100%.
So you got to think ahead as well. Not just two steps ahead. You got to think like 3, 4, 5 steps ahead, years ahead.
And you got to be prepared to stick at something, right? Because if you don't stick at it, one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to keep bouncing around from group to group, from strategy to strategy, from style to style, right? And before you know it, that's a slippery slope. It's a bit like a P. Diddy party.
It's a bit like a P. Diddy party.
You never know where it's going to fucking end.
You never know where it's going to end.
So you got to pick what's best for you, find out what your goals are, what you want to achieve from trading, and that is how you'll find the most profitable strategy for you.
Simple. And that might take a bit of time, but guess what? It will pay off massively
100%
in the long run. Do what you got to do. Do you. Go make some money. Have a good week. But catch you on the next episode.
See you later.